So if you guys don't know, my name is Mark Cheng. I'm the broker owner of IRN Realty, and today we're going to be going over real estate video for beginners. We'll talk about all the equipment that we need, go through the whole process of scripting, filming, editing, and give you a brief overview. And then a lot of things take practice and actually doing to learn. And that's how we've been doing it, and we're learning along with you. So if you guys have any tips and you guys are better at this than we are, then I would love to hear them in the chat. Or if you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat. We will get started right away into equipment because I think it helps us understand when we're trying to talk about filming and those kind of things. So one of the things that I think, one of the challenges agents have with doing video is they think it might be kind of expensive or they don't know what to get. So I wanted to present all sorts of options. So this is what I'm titling as the budget option. So there's two different gimbals that I think are good for today, and these just came out like a few weeks ago. So a gimbal is something that looks like this. Now I have, this is the one we're recommending is version 7. This one is actually version 6. And what it does is, instead of when you're trying to hold your phone, it's trying to talk to me now. Let me close this down. So when you're trying to hold your phone, it's not always stable. The footage is going to be shaky. You know, if you're walking, you're going to be able to see like this. And what the gimbal does is it actually allows you to make all that footage very, very smooth. I'm sorry, I should be showing you this. So the gimbal will make everything very, very smooth, almost like it's floating on air. And it's very, very impressive how far the technology has gone. I've run with the gimbal before, and you can't really tell that I'm running. It just looks like it's in a straight line. And so there's two different options that are available these days that I think you should get, and they're both by DJI, a Chinese company. One is called the Mobile 7. And what it does is it uses your cell phone as the camera. So it doesn't have a camera built in, it uses your cell phone as the camera. And what you do is you have this like little clip, if you can see, and it clips onto your phone, and then your phone kind of mounts to the gimbal, and the gimbal will try to balance it, and then combined with your camera's ability to kind of stabilize the image, it will come out very, very smooth. So this is one way you can do it. So the very, very cheapest option is only $89. It's the DJI Osmo 7, $89, and it's got a lot of features, like it can turn vertical, it can turn horizontal, it can flip around. The only thing, if you flip around, you can't tell what it's facing. So if you're trying to film yourself, like a vlog or anything like that, you're trying to film yourself, you won't be able to see what's on the screen. It has some really cool features, which is like if you want it to follow you, like sometimes it's hard to make sure you're in the shot, you can double tap and it will have a auto follow. So you hook it up to the app, the gimbal will communicate with your phone, and then just try to make sure that it's following you and you're always in the frame. So very useful tool, and it's very reasonably priced at $89. So that's the first option A for video. Now there's always video, and then there's also audio. So you can do and just get the gimbal and then try to use the microphone on the iPhone. I use iPhone, so I'm sorry if this is very Apple centric, but the same thing will go for Android. But if you use the phone mic, it won't come out as clear. I think sometimes it can get maybe too far away, so the audio isn't as clear. So I would recommend you also get a microphone to it. If you look on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a DJI Mic Mini. So it's about the size of maybe like a quarter, and then you would just put that on your shirt, and that would be a much better audio that you can hook into your phone. It has a receiver that connects to the bottom of your phone, and you can just have that directly connect. So that's another $89. And so total, you're talking about $178 if you want both the gimbal and then also the microphone. The only thing I don't like about the Mic Mini is that it looks like a quarter, so when you're actually wearing it, it's pretty big. So preferably, I would rather have what we call a lavalier mic, and I'll show you that in a second. Option B is kind of a slightly upgraded version of the Osmo Mobile 7, which is $149, so you're paying a little bit more. It comes with a few extra features, like I think that one can extend. So like this one extends. So if you want a little bit higher, you can have it extend. But I've rarely had to use that, so I don't think that's a big feature. I think the better feature is the little thing that you see at the bottom of the phone. It comes with a sensor, and the sensor allows you to do that auto follow without having to see the phone. So if you, I think there's like a hand gesture, and then it will automatically follow you. So you'll see it actually turning to make sure you're always in the frame. And then that way you can use the other side's camera. And the only reason you would want to do that is because the other side's camera is a better camera. So your selfie cam on at least the iPhone 16 is 12 megapixels, usually less than the main camera. The main camera is about 48 megapixels. And megapixel just means how much quality you're getting. Like you buy a 4K TV versus a 1080p TV. So the quality and the is just a little bit better. And so you can do that. There's other features also, but I think that's the main one. It has a light. I don't know if you'd ever use the light. But there is a combination. If you go on Amazon, you can actually get both for $208. So just a little bit more than the Osmo 7 plus the Mic Mini, and then they'll be linked together. So that might be a good option. But in terms of mic, I actually prefer the DJI Mic 2, and I'll show you a picture of it in the next slide. The only reason I prefer that one is because like I have the Mic 1, which is very similar. It's like an older version. Is you can use a lavalier mic. So it's one of these. Lavalier mic is this thing, and basically you clip it on your shirt, so it's a little bit less kind of obvious that you have a giant mic on your. So this is the size of, I'll put against the white on my shirt. So this is the size of the DJI Mic 2. And so this is kind of bulky, but if you have just that wire, it's a little bit better, I think. So that's why I like that one. It's not as obtrusive. Okay. That's a little more expensive, $10 more expensive, but I think it's worth it. But you'll need to buy a lavalier mic. I think it's a better purchase for that $37 extra. Okay. So these are some of the audio inputs that you can check out that I was just talking about. On the very left, you can have the DJI Mic Mini. So you'll see that little block. That little block will connect to the bottom of your phone on the gimbal. So then that way it'll connect. And then the other two options are about the same size, a little bit bigger than the Mic Mini, but again, you can connect a lavalier mic. So the middle is just the transmitter, which you can get to work with the next camera I'm going to talk about without any kind of receiver. And because it does use Bluetooth, it also can connect to your iPhone and probably your Android too. So you don't need another receiver. And then you lavalier mic. So out of those, I would recommend the DJI Mic 2 with a lavalier. And if you guys have questions, just let me know. This is actually my preferred option. It's not as cheap. This is what I would say would work the best for 99% of agents. And before we talk about this one, let me show you a video that we filmed with an Android and the Osmo Mobile. And this is with the 6 version. So I'll show a couple video clips to see what I'm talking about with the gimbal. And the contractor was actually Mersol, which is very well known in our area for building quality construction. And you've also got the spacious kitchen with a peninsula. Stainless steel appliances, high cabinets. And you've got your open dining area here. So that was filmed with the Osmo Mobile 6, and someone helped me film that. So Daniel helped me film that. You can see him in some of the mirrors and stuff when he's walking around. And so if you notice, it's very, very smooth when you're going back and forth, and that's what the gimbal does. I don't think it's as smooth as this camera that we're showing on screen, which is the Osmo Pocket 3. So there's two versions of this. There's the version without the mic, and there's the version with the mic. I think it's totally worthwhile to have the mic already connected. So you just have a mic, and then anytime you go out, you can just do it all together rather than having to buy a separate mic. So they have a creator combo. And actually right now, when I was preparing for this class, I found out that the creator combo is actually on sale for $4.99. So I bought it for $6.69, but it is available for $4.99, automatically connected. So I would definitely get that one. You have your audio and your video all together. Now this can take 4K video by itself, and it is very good video, and it's very easy to use. So when I started doing video trainings for our company 5 years ago, I was very nervous. I didn't know what to say, I didn't know anything about cameras, and I didn't like being in front of the camera. It just felt like a huge challenge. This year, IRN created a program that helped multiple agents overcome those challenges almost instantly. In their first session, agents who had never done video before recorded their first listing tour video. If you want to create real estate videos and you just don't know how to get started, we can show you. Join our real estate video group that meets on-site Wednesday at 1 p.m. You can have zero experience, we provide the equipment, and it's free. There's really no reason not to join if you want to do video. It's open to all agents, even those not part of IRN Realty yet. The only thing is space is limited. So if you want to get started in video and you think this group can help, text me at the number below. Just in case we are full, we'll add you to our waiting list so we can add you as agents graduate. Hope to see you there. Now back to the video. So the issue with the Osmo Mobile is if you don't have enough memory on your phone and you run out, let's say you're going to film 20-30 minutes, it's very easy to run out of space on your phone. It's doable if you clear it out and make sure you buy a phone with extra storage. But I really think that this is probably the best thing. You'll have to buy a memory card. You can choose what memory card. We've recorded 3-4 hours on here and no issues. So I think this is probably the best overall for everybody. And again, so if you buy the creator combo, I would definitely buy the lavalier mic as well, and that would bring your total cost to $536, which I think is not bad. Like the stuff you can get today for that price works fantastic. So I will show you a video filmed with that. Give me a second. It's this one. So I'm on the way to a townhouse that we're about to list in a few days, and I wanted to share some tips with you on how to make the transaction a little bit smoother and save me a bunch of time. Here's the first one. So I always install 2 different lock boxes. The first one is the Supra. This tracks agents coming in and out and gives me the chance to give each agent a call after the showing and get some feedback. The other type of lockbox we install is the combination lockbox. So the primary reason we use this combination lockbox is so that when vendors need to go in, such as painters or cleaners or stagers, we have a separate lockbox. So even just that short clip, it probably took me 2 or 3 times of filming to get it without stumbling and without everything going smoothly, I guess. And so a lot of times I'll do many takes. I'm not that good on camera, I guess, as some people might be able to do it all in one shot and make it very smooth and natural, but for me it takes a lot of effort. But the great thing about video is you can do it over and over again and then chop it up, and then you can almost make it look like it was all done in one take. It is pretty smooth, and it's super easy to use. That's why I would recommend it. With the previous one, with this Osmo Mobile, you have to hook up your phone, and then you have to worry about space. And then when I was using this, I had an extra hard drive rig to it, put to it, hooked up, and it was just like this whole thing. And it's so much. I found it so much easier, and I've used this so much more than I would have if I had to hook everything up each time. So I think it's a good idea to remove all the obstacles that you can if you're really trying to do more video. If you're going to be doing like more educational stuff, you're going to be sitting down and you're going to be talking about, oh, this is how you get a loan for a property. This is what you need to buy a property. You know, you need to get pre-qualified and you need to have your down payment. And whatever you're doing, if you're going to be sitting down or you're going to be doing more of a kind of permanent setup, you can do something like this, but I won't go into too much detail, but it is more expensive. I recently rented out both the Sony, like one of the best Sony cameras for video. That's like and the lens, I think together it would have been like $5,000 or $6,000. I rented it for a day, which is a good option if you want to test this kind of stuff before you buy it completely. And I tested it. I didn't like the colors that came out of the Sony as much as Canon. It just seems like Canon, you almost don't need to edit at all in terms of colors or color grade it. Whereas Sony, I think you need to touch it up a little bit more. And I just, like I said, I want it to be as smooth as possible so I can just sit down or walk around and shoot the video and then put it up. I want as few steps as possible, as simple as possible. And that's why I would recommend a Canon camera. And this one seems pretty reasonable. And from the reviews, it's very, very good. Okay, but of course it's more price. We will talk about each step. So when I see those YouTubers that do not necessarily real estate ones, but some of the other ones that do content online that are really good at it, I always picture them just sitting down. They, you know, if the video is 10 minutes long, they would just get on camera. They wouldn't practice. They just look at it and then they film for 10 minutes and then they're done and then they do some editing and they post it. But it's not like that at all. Like if you really listen to them and see their processes, they spend so much time on every step. So I gave you some idea. I'm giving you some idea of the time that I typically will spend on some of these videos. So there are 5 steps that I've divided it into. Number 1 is writing a script. So even though a lot of it seems very natural, most people who are filming videos, they will have a formal script written out, at least the ideas of it and outline of it. For me, I personally write down almost every word just because it's easier for me to do that rather than try to go off the cuff. I'm not super great at that, so I like to write it out completely. So if I'm doing a property tour, it's not that difficult. I just kind of walk through the property. I see where we want to go. Like for the Monrovia one, we went through and we said, okay, we're going to take this route through the home. In this room, I want to talk about 1, 2, 3. In this room, I want to talk about 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. This room, I want to talk about these items. I want to show the view. And I told Daniel, okay, I want to make sure we pan over to the view and then we come back. And then we want to make sure we get the kitchen because that's a big part of why people are buying this home. And so we kind of plan it out and then we know the kind of things we want to say. So maybe like 30 minutes. Now, an educational one, we want to make sure we give the right information. So I'll show you an actual script of one I wrote where we're talking about how much money would you have made if you bought an Arcadia home 5 years ago, and how much money would you have made if you bought an Irvine home 5 years ago. And it's just kind of fun. We just go back and we do market comps. And so that took a lot of time. Probably more than 4 hours for that video, but 4 hours at least for some type of educational video. You want to make sure whatever you're presenting is accurate. Since it's permanent and people will see it, you want to make sure you give them the right information. Second is filming the A-roll. If you don't know what the A-roll is basically whatever your main kind of video is. So in the videos you just saw, it's basically, whenever I'm talking, it's basically the A-roll. And then on top of that, we'll put in some B-roll, which is like, if we're talking about a certain thing, we'll zoom in on it and then that will show that part of it. So let me actually, I forgot to show the third video. The third video will show you what B-roll is. So pay attention when we switch over to the flowers. That's B-roll. Sometimes weeks before a home comes on the market, the listing agent is already getting the property ready. Today we're going to be talking about one part of that process, which is the landscaping. Hi, I'm Mark Cheng from I and I Realty, and today we're going to be looking at this property firsthand on how we're getting it ready. What we're doing, how long it's going to take, how much it costs, and ultimately some before and after photos. So here we're going to be doing this flower bed, which was pretty much empty before, and we're going to be filling it with some star jasmine, which you see already. And then we're going to do some colorful annuals to add some color to the property and to the front lawn. And so they're ready. Also, they had some private. Okay, so when we did the flowers and thing, that's kind of B-roll, kind of breaks up the A-roll, so that way you're just not looking at one person the whole time. And so it kind of breaks it up, it makes it more interesting, and I think it's important to have that. So to do that, maybe if you're going through the tour of a property, you would go back and then you would kind of do a few shots of the more important rooms, maybe some zoom ins, maybe the community, whatever it is. If you're talking about like, oh, this is in Irvine, this is in Woodbury, maybe you show the Woodbury sign, or maybe you show some of the parks or schools or something like that. If that's a feature of the home, like if you're in San Marino or Arcadia or any of the good school district homes. So that's B-roll. I think it's important to do a lot of that. So for a home tour, it's about 1 hour. Educational video, maybe it's more, 4 hours, because it's not just going through the home and taking it, you have to find it. Editing. We'll talk about editing. Editing can take very, very long. Basically, you're going to be viewing all your footage and then you're going to be cutting it down. And then whatever the video length is, so if it's a 10-minute video, you're going to be spending multiple times 10 minutes of that, reviewing that footage over and over and over again to make sure you're cutting it correctly, and then you're adding in the B-roll and then just making sure the pacing's correct. So when I got into it, I was like, you don't even need to view it. You just take it from the beginning, take it to the end, and then you have the video. But when you actually film, you're not gonna get a perfect 100% all the way through. It's not gonna be start to finish and you do it in one take. If you are, then that's fantastic. You should do more of video because it's easy for you. But for me, if I'm doing like a 10-minute video, that might be like 7, 8, 9 takes where we're splitting it up, and then you'll have to find the best one of each take, and you'll have to merge it, and then we'll have to, kind of make the transition smooth. And so you're watching that video over and over and over again until you get it the way you want it. So tours are a lot easier because you're just going through the property, and that's, from start to finish, it's kind of a little bit smoother. The last part is posting. Posting actually does take some time, like putting it on YouTube. I usually will run it through and get captions. You have to think about your thumbnail, and then you have to also think about what kind of videos you want to link to at the end as well. So those are all important eventually. And so at least half an hour, I think, for either type of video. Posting doesn't matter which kind of video. So total, if you're doing like a home tour, I would say around at least 4 hours of work. If you're doing educational, maybe 12 to 13 or more. So, and I think at the beginning, it will probably be even more. So you just have to know you're going to need to budget this amount of time for making that video if you're going to do this seriously. So editing a video is probably one of the biggest reasons real estate agents don't do video. I want to help you make it easy. If you're new to making real estate videos and you don't know what editing software you should use, I would recommend CapCut for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's free to start. If later on you want more advanced features like voice isolation, transitions, and captions, it's only $9.99 per month. Very reasonable and low commitment. Another great reason is that it's one of the simplest to use. And later on, if you do decide to switch to something like Final Cut Pro, you'll have no transition time. The keyboard shortcuts are basically the same. To make things easy as possible for agents to get started, I've recorded a free CapCut Basics video along with a keyboard shortcut cheat sheet. If you want to receive those for free, sign up for our training text below and we'll send both to you. Just follow the directions below. Okay, now back to the video. I want to show you a video because I just got an okay from the agent. She did a great video. I think she interviewed Scott Huang about our agent Julia Gall from Irvine office. She is very interested in this one community in Irvine. She's been tracking it, and finally she said, okay, I finally got the salesperson's information. Can we go and shoot a video with him? So I got our videographer to go in, and then we shot 2 videos, one for me, one for her. I posted mine a little bit after she posted hers, but hers I think was much better than mine. She asked a lot more questions, and I'll show you like the 30 seconds of it. But she shot with her own camera, even though we had a videographer, because she wanted to get it up sooner, which is actually probably more important than having the better camera. So she shot it with the Pocket 3.
大家好，我是 Iron Realty 的燕高 Julia。今天我们特别荣幸的邀请到了 Toll Brothers 的这个资深 Sales Scott 来给大家介绍一下这个尔湾人民和整个南加人民都很期待的这个花果山4项目。所以 Scott， 今天我来的目的呢，就是代表很多我们的客户，包括已经交了资金证明，我也已经跟你们各个项目组的销售联系过的这些。他们来问一下客户们真正想关心的问题，所以我更想把它变成一个就是代表客户们来做的一个谈话 pre-sales。
可以啊，可以啊。我们资金还没开始排队了，我们还没开始排队。不过我相信你们应该很多客人都已经把资金证明都给你们了，就是我们现在还没开始排队。
对。我们已经万事俱备，只欠东风了。所以我们接下来想首先问一下，就想说，整个这个想请您先大概介绍一下花果山4，不光是代表 Toll Brothers， 也请您作为这个知情者统共的介绍一下整个这个社区的所有的情况，比如说总共有多少套，然后你们3个销售商各自负责了多少套，然后大概有 floor plans， 我们会在后面一点再问到。
可以啊，没问题的。那我们这边跟大家做个大概的简。
So I thought that was fantastic. She did a great job. I was there for the whole thing. The whole video is like, I don't know, almost 30 minutes, I think, of her asking questions that are important to the client. And I think that's, I think it was a great video for her. And is able to, she put it all over different channels. So people from overseas can find more information. And then when they want to purchase, they can find her. So I think she did a great job on that. Okay, so let's talk about the first step of scripting. We'll talk about ideas too. So ideas actually come before scripting, but in terms of scripting, I think this is a good and simple way to think about it. If you guys haven't seen this, the person at the bottom left, Ali Abdal, he has millions of subscribers on YouTube, and then he does like classes, and those classes make him like $4 million a year or more. And he has a very simple and good framework for how to create a video, and he calls it hives. So if you look at the top left, it says hook. So about 15 seconds of why you should watch the video. So, most of the big YouTubers, they'll tell you within 15 seconds, right when you click open the video, they'll tell you, okay, why should you watch this? What am I going to tell you? Oh, I'm going to, tell you how to work out and cut some fat within 15 seconds of that video. Or, I'm going to tell you how to learn something. I'm going to tell you how to make money or whatever within that 15 seconds, so you continue watching. Then he says he does an intro, which is who are you and why should people listen to you? So for him, he always talked about, in the beginning, he always talked about how he was a doctor. He was a doctor, and then he graduated from like Cambridge. So he's obviously very smart. And then he went from doing that to becoming a YouTuber, basically. And his class is about how to succeed on YouTube. So so he does have kind of that intro part down. Then he talks about the content of it, whatever he promised before, he's going to deliver it. And then he says at the end, he doesn't ask people to subscribe, so it's up to you what you want to do. He doesn't ask people to subscribe or like. He says the minute in this video, and you can search for it, it's just how to easily script YouTube videos, and then you'll see that script video, and then you can click it. But he says basically, the minute someone asks you to subscribe, a lot of people click off because they know the video is ending. So instead of doing that, he asks you, if you like this video, check out this one on this other topic that's related. And that way, instead of clicking off the video into something else, you'll click into one of his videos, and that's how he retains you and keeps it going. So I think it's smart. But yeah, that video is totally worth watching for that kind of scripting framework. So as for ideas of real estate videos, here are some topics that I think you can take or steal. So who is your audience? Are you looking for sellers? Are you looking for buyers? Are you looking for expired listings? So I think a fantastic thing that you could do, and I've always wanted to do, is create a series of videos for like expired listings. Like, number one, why didn't your home sell? And then maybe 2 days later, you can find a way to send them a second video saying, okay, how to maximize your price when you sell. Number three might be, have you taken a long enough break from listing on the market? Let's do it right this time. And then you can have a video on that. And then if you have a series of videos, I do think that you would be able to pick up some expired listings. I did something similar, but only with postcards without video. And I got a lot of response. It was just very expensive to send out. So every time a listing expired, and we would look everywhere just as the experiment. And I got like 5 or 6 appointments in a month for expired listings that were like, okay, well, you sent me the 5 postcards. They were super ugly, poorly designed, but my assistant was very consistent about sending it out. Like every morning we would look at what expired, I would highlight it for her, and then she would send it out. Very expensive, but it did get results, and it would have paid for itself if I was willing to drive, further. So if you did that with something with video, I think that would supercharge that program. Some other things you can do. So I already talked about property tours. So if you look at some of the big real estate YouTubers, especially in the Chinese market, a lot of them is about they're trying to pump out videos. So it's like usually property tours, which are very easy compared to like educational stuff and maybe more interesting, in fact. And then also lifestyle. So, oh, we're gonna do this activity, and then I'm taking the kids here, and then this is kind of how we live in Southern California or in Orange County or in Arcadia or whatever it is. And I think those are valuable for people who are coming from out of the country, and they just kind of want to see, okay, if I ended up buying somewhere, what would my life be like? And would it be kind of interesting? And then they kind of do that. So I think that's an easier way to do it than education. So those are great. Property tours are great. But here are some ideas for educational content too, in case you wanted to do something like that. Maybe someone who already lives here maybe just wants to know more about the actual process and is looking for education. So owning versus renting. So you can do a comparison of like, okay, what's your mortgage payment going to be? What's your rent going to be? And what are the benefits of owning? Like, for example, if you own, your mortgage is going to be fixed for 30 years, right? Hopefully. And your cost is going to be the same. Your rent over time, it's going to go up, right? And so in 10, 15 years, is your rent going to be so much that it's way more than the mortgage payment? Probably, actually, if you do the calculation. There's other benefits, like you can deduct some of the state and local taxes. You can, if the property value goes up, you're now in, that's how you build long-term wealth, right? That's probably the biggest reason for owning a home. You're building long-term wealth rather than renting, which you don't own anything, and it's, nothing, zero goes to zero, basically, right? Other things you can do is you can customize your home. You don't have to worry about someone kicking you out at some point if they want to move back in or they want to renovate the house or something like that. It's more stable. So there's a lot of benefits that you can talk about owning with. That's one idea. How to retire early through real estate investing. You can do some calculations on like how many units you would need to retire. Let's say you need $200,000 a year in passive income. How many units do you need to purchase? How much money you need to save up? That kind of thing. I told you about how much money you would have if you bought an Irvine or Arcadia home. And I'll show you the script right after this slide. Why do homes fail to sell? So that might be for an expired listing. So usually it's price, it's exposure, and sometimes honestly it's because of commission. You didn't give a big enough concession for the buyer's agent commission to attract the agents to come in. I had one deal basically fall apart because the seller tried to reduce the commission, and then the buyer's agent was like, "Well, no, my buyer wasn't really that sold on the property. I think we'll probably go somewhere else," and then they canceled the deal. So it's important. That's important. A lot of people don't know. You can do a market update. So this month, Arcadia properties, the inventory has gone up by 20%, and it's more than we've had in the past 2 years, or whatever statistics you want to use for the market update. You can do that. That's something very easy, actually. Very little time. It's not educational. It is educational, but it's not like deep research. You take a few minutes, look on the MLS, you can probably figure out what is happening, or just some statistics that are interesting in whatever market you're doing. Looking for your first rental property, here's what to know. Okay, you need to know that the loans are going to be different because it's not your primary. Maybe the interest rate is higher. But you can deduct all your expenses, including all property tax, some considerations when you're buying your first rental. Same thing with the first home. What kind of current laws save you taxes? So you might be able to talk about like the Section 121 exclusion for the $500,000 capital gains exemption, or you might be able to talk about property tax. Property tax can only go up 2% per year based on Prop 13. And if you want to transfer your property tax, you have Proposition 60 and 90, or Proposition 19 as it's known now. So, those are important things that clients may find interesting. Another thing is if you are talking to people who maybe are out of the area, or you just want to do a community spotlight, you can say like, okay, I live in Diamond Bar and I know Diamond Bar really well. I can talk all about Diamond Bar. So for me, I live in Arcadia. I've lived in San Marino, San Gabriel, Alhambra, Irvine. So I feel confident enough where I can talk about each of those communities. And so that's already 5 videos that I can do for community spotlight. And those just happen to be a lot of the areas that we work. So that can be a great one and probably easier one to start off with. You can do like how to compete with cash offers. You can do a fun video about like, is Zillow accurate? Maybe you can take a Zillow valuation and then you compare it to when it actually sells, which one's accurate, is it up or down? And you can do it preparing for fire or other natural disaster in Southern California. So maybe you can talk about earthquake kits. You should install an earthquake gas valve, those kind of things. These are all things that you can work out and think about. And I'm happy to talk to you about them and develop your ideas more. So is Lynn and Cindy. This is my script. I do everything in Apple Notes because sometimes if I'm out with a friend or I'm out at lunch and I think of an idea, then I can write it in my phone right away and I know I can come back to the computer and remodify it. I'm happy to share any script or any video that you guys want to do. And I would, if you want to translate it to Chinese, I'm happy to share that and encourage that. So this one is one we haven't released yet, but it will get released in the next couple weeks, which is basically if you bought an Arcadia or Irvine single family or townhouse, how much did you make over the last 5 years? And some of the numbers are crazy, like 250% if you got a loan on it, And so it's kind of interesting, kind of fun. And in there I say like it doesn't represent every 5 years, so it's not a guarantee that if you buy it today, in 5 years you're going to get 250% back. It isn't, and probably it won't based on what I can see in the market, but it is kind of just interesting and fun. So I put in all my statistics that I found on the MLS into the notes, so that way I have everything in one place and I read it. Okay. And that helps me get things done faster. Okay, we had a question about editing. So this is where we're going to talk about editing. So personally for me, so the DJI Pocket 3 does not have, none of these cameras has editing built in. So you can't edit like in the camera. And I think it would be difficult to anyway. Your phone, you can do it with an app. Like I think CapCut is one that's very popular on the phone. But I think it's better to download the footage into an editor and then put it out that way. There are free ones, and then there are low-cost ones that are like monthly, and it's very low, like $10 or $15 a month. So if you use it, you don't like it, you can change it. I'll tell you what I do in a second. But overall, let me show you the script first, right after I talk about this. Overall, most editing software is like this. They will have a timeline. A timeline basically means as the video goes, you'll see some times, like at the top, you'll see 0 and then 15, 30. So that's 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 1 minute. And you'll see like different blocks of video underneath. So on the very bottom, you'll see the audio. And then right above that, you'll see the A-roll, which is me talking. And then on top of that, we call the B-roll, which is additional video that you're going to insert to make it more interesting, like the shots of flowers that I had before, or if you're doing like a product or something, you'll see that product. Or maybe you're doing a home tour, you'll see that home tour. So that's the B-roll. And then you'll have the preview, which is the video. So when you're going through, you can play. The best tip that I can give you while you're editing is when I'm editing, I'm always playing everything at 2 times the speed. So that way, if the video is 15 minutes, it will only take me 7.5 minutes to watch the whole thing, to edit it and go back through. so I don't have to spend all 15 minutes editing. I can watch it through at 2 times the speed. And that's slow enough, that's fast enough where I save a lot of time, but also slow enough where I can hear the words. But yeah, you still need to watch it 1 time through at 1x because sometimes it sounds fine in 2 times the speed, but it doesn't sound fine 1x, and you need to adjust something. So let's talk about some editing options. For me, I personally use Final Cut Pro. It's available only on Mac, so Windows users can't really use it. And it is a cost of $299, which is a little bit expensive if you're just starting out. You can always try it. There's a 90-day trial that you can try and see if it works for you. And then most other softwares are monthly. So if you have enough months, this might be worthwhile to invest in Final Cut Pro if you have a Mac. The other software that is great for Macs is iMovie. It's actually free. It comes with every Mac, and it does allow you to do the majority of what you really need, which is cutting and rearranging. That's probably about 80% of the editing, just creating that rough cut. And then the rest of it is adding little effects and explainers, and you can do some of that in iMovie as well. So we've had some agents just use iMovie, and you can't tell as long as you're not doing any fancy effects with the other editing software. In terms of a Windows software, there's also Adobe Premiere, which is another professional software. They're a subscription as well. I don't know the cost, but when I used it, it would constantly crash on me. Maybe it was the Mac version, I'm not sure. But it was very frustrating to go through like half an hour of editing, and then it would crash. And then you have to go back and you have to remember what you did. For now, I think a good option for most people just starting out is CapCut. It works for both Windows and Mac. It comes in the desktop version, which is what you download, and also has a mobile version where you can edit videos taken on your cell phone. So that's a good feature. And it comes free for any basic features. Of course, they're always trying to sell you Pro, which has a bunch of features like voice isolation, some transitions, and captions. And those are all great to have, and you can pay for those if CapCut is something that you want to invest in later on. It comes in at $9.99 a month. I think they have a yearly contract for a little bit less, but it is a good software. I've edited with a few videos with that just to try it out. And so it does work. The great thing is it shares a lot of the same keyboard shortcuts as Final Cut Pro. So if you do ever say, well, okay, now it's time to invest in Final Cut Pro because I don't want to have monthly fees, then you won't skip a beat trying to switch over. The other type of editors which you can use are online editors. Basically, you upload your video to the cloud, to their cloud, and then you edit online. And so Canva has one that's easy to use. You can find a tutorial if you do a search on YouTube. They have a 7-day trial, and then after that, it's $15 a month. So it's easy to use. It's kind of one of my top features for this editing software because we want to lower the barrier as much as possible. And then another really interesting one is Descript. Descript is, it uses AI, and then it basically, you upload the whole video. And then what it does is it takes the best take. So let's say you recorded 3 times of you saying this one sentence or one paragraph. It'll try to figure out which one is the best. Usually it's the last one. And they'll cut it up, and they'll have a AI kind of cut up your video for you and edit it. And it's supposed to be a lot faster. I haven't tried it myself, so I can't say if it works well. They have a ton of other AI features, like, for example, if you're missing eye contact, they can somehow use AI to make you have eye contact with the camera. And then one really cool thing is you can go through, remove all the ums and the pauses. You can go in and edit the video based on what you actually said. So let's say you have a script, and you can go in and you can kind of rearrange and delete some things, and it'll cut it out of the video just by cutting out the text. So kind of cool features. I haven't tried it out. If you do want me to do a demo of it or go through it, you can always leave a comment, and I'll try that and record the next video. So the one thing I don't like about online editors is that you're uploading all your footage up to the cloud, which is fine. I'm not too worried about security. You're going to publish a lot of it anyway to the world. But it does take a while, especially if you don't have a good internet connection. So if you have a standard cable internet connection, it's going to take forever. And that's why we don't typically edit with online tools. It just adds a second step. Okay, posting. So I usually post on YouTube, but I know Weixin's channels is very good. And then Xiaohongshu, I know if you post there, it will have some very good results. I haven't done it, so actually I need your help on getting to know these. So if you know these really well, I would love to talk to you more and we can work together, and whatever I can teach you, I would teach you, and you teach me about those two things, and that'd be fantastic. Okay. And does anyone know any other place you want to post videos? Like, I guess you could do it on Facebook too. Anywhere else that you guys watch or post to? So any of those platforms, if you want to teach me about it, I'm happy to learn from you. And if you need anything from me, I'm happy to help too. So in our class, we talked about the most common challenges for agents getting started in video. We talked about the low-cost equipment options, the entire video creation process, the time required, ways to get comfortable in front of the camera, and ideas on what to talk about. Now, if you do decide to do video, send me a text and I promise I'll subscribe to your channel and we can have at least one more subscriber. If you like this type of training, you can sign up for our live Tuesday training by texting class to the same number below. And if you like this video, you might also like this video on the best low-cost computers for realtors here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.